Hello, Project Runway fans. I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with my fellow editor Susan Wloszczyna to talk about episode 2 of season 18, Cats of the Urban Jungle, in which the designers had to make streetwear out of animal prints, and thankfully didn't have to recreate the Uncanny Valley looks from the Cats trailer. Yeah. In the end, unfortunately, Veronica Schaefer was the designer sent home for her look, and it's always the kiss of death when anyone makes a design that can be described as an exotic diaper, which is how Brandon Maxwell put it in his critique. Well, what did you think about that ultimate result, Susan?
I mean, I'm all for wearing underwear, but under my clothes, and I'm sorry, she could have done something more like capri pants with it or something. And it would have been kind of, I think, better looking. And the fabric was fine. I guess it was animal. I don't even know. But yeah, and I did like the winning outfit. I think I liked the second runner-up a little better. But I forget who that was, but I did.
Yeah, Marquise Foster won, and then Delvin Labcoat McCrae.
That's right.
Runner up with that bird with that coat dress, and
yeah.
And I keep getting annoyed with Delvin every week. Like, he seems so cocky, and he's got the coat, and he's like, "Well, I'm done before everyone else is, and I'm not going to help anyone." And it's just like, oh, stop being that guy. But then he looks go down the runway, and they're both this week and last week. They're terrific. So as long as he puts money mouth is, I will allow him, the little bit of cockiness that he's been showing. It's not too bad.
Well, let's just compliment it. He's focused.
He's focused.
He doesn't
stick his
right, and he doesn't stick his. He knows what he's doing the minute he gets the fabric. Unlike everybody else, that they kind of rethink too much and second guess themselves. He's quite confident, but not. I guess not cocky exactly, just kind of smug.
Yeah, a little bit. Like, and there's that moment where he's like, not like, everyone's helping Daeyoung, which we'll talk about Daeyoung's situation, but everyone's helping Daeyoung at the end of day 2 because she lost today for she was in a hospital and from exhaustion, and Delvin was just sitting aside, like, he's all done with his work. He was done the night before, and he's just sitting aside, just like, I guess everybody else is helping, so I don't have to help. And it's like, oh, you're done, and just like, be nice, like you like sew a stitch or something, just to be a team player in this group where everyone is in the same kind of boat.
Was it just him who said something snide, like, "Oh, they're all helping," or was that Sergio?
It wasn't. He was the one. He was the only one who said. I can't remember if Sergio helped or not, but
no,
only Delvin who. It was only Delvin who was just like, "Oh, I guess everyone else is helping." It wasn't exactly snide, but he was just sort of like, "Yeah, no, I'm not gonna help." I mean, he's one of those people. Like, he feels like one of those "I'm not here to make friends" kind of reality contestants. Which, okay, but like, she was in the hospital. Like, it wouldn't kill you or like ruin the integrity of the competition to like do a stitch or something. Like, I mean, just as the kind of solidarity of designers, honor among thieves, that kind of thing. But yeah. No, he was just like, "No, thank you, I'm good." But again, I loved his look, the bird feather look. I'm so glad he used bird feather as his print instead of everyone else doing some variation of a beige leopard or giraffe or snake or everything that felt like it was in the same color palette. His really gave a nice pop of color in a different way that was still true to the challenge. I appreciated. So that probably would have been my favorite look too, although I thought Marquise's look was fantastic.
Well, what sold me was when the makeup guy, found a matching eyeshadow and went to
that was fantastic.
That was great.
and Delvin just gave the makeup artist like a piece of fabric, and he just sort of ran with it, and it's just like such a perfect match, but not too like matchy, but like it went perfectly with that look. So that was really cool to see. And to go into more specifically what Daeyoung went through. After last week, she finished in the bottom 2 teams with, she was paired with Alan Gonzalez. And then the next morning after that challenge, she can't get out of bed. The EMTs are called. She's, they she's taken to the hospital. She's feeling dizzy. She's feeling body aches. It turns out she was experiencing exhaustion. She was gone for the whole first day. And I kept wondering, it's like, well, is she leaving the competition, or is like, are they exempting her from this competition somehow? Or, but no, she ended up coming in day 2, putting a thing together, again, with the help of her fellow designers, using tiger print to kind of go with like the national animal of Korea. If I'm being honest, it looked, when it went down the runway, I'm like, that looks like she only had a day on that. Like, it looked very
heavy. It was heavy.
A lot of fabric. It didn't have a lot of shape. It probably would have been in my bottom 3 personally, but knowing her circumstances, and maybe the producers knew her circumstances and the judges were like, okay, we know that took her a day, and that's for a day's work. Kudos to her, because she literally had half the time of any other designer.
Yeah. Do you think, though, people should pitch in for other people, though?
I don't think it's necessary to. Like, again, it's a competition. You're not required to. I just think it's the nice thing to do. Especially, it's not like a situation where someone is just habitually running behind and they just don't know how to finish things. And this was a special case where this woman was in the hospital and she still came back and tried to make a garment in one day to stay in the competition. I think it was good sportsmanship to help her out a little bit. Like, again, it's not required. I'm not going to say Delvin, is dead to me for not helping. I get it. And certainly this week's episode, there was certainly worse than Delvin in terms of making a bad impression in terms of your how you view other people. But I did like that most of the designers did help because they saw the situation she was in, and any one of them could, if any one of them were in that situation, they would want a little bit of help and consideration from the others too. They're all designers, they're all artists, and so it's nice to see them support each other even when it's a competition. But again, it's not necessary.
Right. Well, I gave Nancy props for not being mumsy last week, and who rushed in to check on her first, which was nice. But it was a very mom thing to do, and she should, watch that. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, I will take the momness over whatever the Sergio-ness is, and let's talk about Sergio Guadarrama again, because
and his outfit that was about as urban as I am. So.
Sergio is a really talented designer. It's one of the things like Delvin. Like, if you have the skills, then being a little, cocky and self-confident in that sort of way, it's like, okay, if you have the looks to back it up, then okay. But it's going a bit farther with Sergio at this point, where. Right. First of all, Christian is trying to give him advice saying that doesn't look very streetwear, because he was designing literally a ball gown pretty much. And he's like, well, I don't design for young people because young people don't have money. So why would I design for them? In my recap, I called him Sergio Antoinette after that, because that was I'm like, in 2019, and Sergio's not an old guy. Sergio is
cheap, Old Navy stuff. Yeah.
Sergio is like in his mid 30s, but he's still technically a millennial. So like, he should have a little bit more like.
He looks old though.
A lot of the other designers are like in their 20s, so he does look older than them. But he's close to my age, and I'm a millennial. He's a millennial, and so I just got, as soon as he said that, I'm like thinking, one, that's a stereotype. Not all young people are poor. Two, the fact that it seems like a stereotype that all young people are poor is because we have like a student loan crisis in this country these days, and the economy isn't really serving young people that well. So just the sort of, very arrogant kind of classist attitude was just like, it was just so annoying to me. And then when he like completely threw out the challenge and just decided to do a gown in an animal print. And I'm like, it was a beautifully well-constructed gown. And then it went down the runway, and he's like, oh, I did 10 times more than anyone else. I'll probably never be in the bottom. And I cannot wait till that happens, because they are setting it up that it's going to happen.
Bite him in the butt when he stops. He continues to ignore what the directions are, because with so many now, there's going to be something horrid, and you can't justify getting rid of him. But that train was like, you could carpet my living room with it. Urban, I didn't walk down the street, because you'd be collecting all sorts of crap on your trains.
Yeah, that's the kind of look that if I were the judges, given that I didn't think any of the looks were flat out terrible, like even Jeffrey's look, which was in the bottom two, and Tyler's look was in the bottom as well, but he was safe. Well, like, they may have had problems, but at least they were trying to do the challenge. I would have put Sergio in the bottom just for ignoring the challenge. Right. It's like, and not get rid of him. Just say, like, okay, you're in the bottom three, but you're safe. You're not going to be the one to send home. But just put him on notice, being like, what did you think this challenge was, and why didn't you try and actually do something that fit the challenge? So I feel like this is the kind of thing I feel like they're setting up for. In some future episode, he's going to end up in the bottom three, and he's going to snipe at the judges, and there's going to be like a whole argument or something. It's like, how dare you put me in the bottom three? I'm so clearly much more talented than these other designers. Right. And, I can't say anything too definitively, because on a reality show, editing is, so much of what they emphasize and what they don't emphasize. But Sergio did say the things he said, so it's not like you can pretend he didn't.
But I do think it's interesting, because they are tending, I don't know if they did this last season, but the people who are going to be part of the equation more tend to get more of a backstory in the beginning of the episode. So Victoria, we got to see her child, and she got divorced and all this stuff, right? So it's like a tell that you're she's going to show up again, maybe good, maybe bad. And the other thing I was going to do, because I remembered Hester, was it one of the last channel challenges? She nearly, chopped a finger off or something. I don't know. But I was going to do a look for medical emergencies on Project One, and I go, no, they're all going to involve needles or something. It's like, usually she was probably dehydrated or something. She wasn't taking care of herself. She said she wasn't taking care of herself. I have a feeling that, probably her partner last week, Alan, was just hoarding all the macaroons. He should have gotten her macaroon. It's like, eat something, have a glass of water. She was clearly just going full speed ahead. She was being way too hard on herself, and it probably meant that she was putting perfecting the design over, like, if she could perfect the design or have a sandwich, she was going to be at there, working on the design. Like, no, have a sandwich. Alan had the right idea. It's like, oh, I'm going to get a fruit snack because, you're hungry and you want a fruit snack. Well, he needs to pay attention to his design quicker, and then he can have a fruit snack.
True.
Not before it's far enough along, and that's, I think, why Christian was giving him a little hard time. So
I love Alan this season.
Something
he's the most quotable this season. Like, at the beginning, he was talking about his design idea. He's like, oh, I want to create a cat that looks like it's going to die but stylish. and then he creates this look that's looking like Yoda, but he's not freaking out about it. He just sort of laughs when Kristen calls it Yoda, but then he improves it. And then, as he said, he went from Yoda to Beyonce in a day, which is great. And it was a good one.
Yeah. And it was hip, I think, more than Yoda was. Maybe the fruit helped. It cleared his mind of all.
Exactly. You need to stay hydrated. You need to stay, keep your body functioning so you can actually, put designs together, because it's not going to help if you don't. Veronica, when they gave her backstory, it's like, oh, her kids are at home. She misses her kids. And I was like, oh, that I should have known, because that's another kiss of death, is when you have the backstory of, I miss my family, I'm homesick. It's like, that's when like you're in an action movie and the character says, I'm about to retire in a week. And it's like, no, you're going to get killed off now.
Right.
It's like foreshadowing doom.
A red shirt. Wasn't it the Star Trek thing? One show.
Oh, yeah, red shirt now.
I don't know why
it
came to mind. So now, overall, no, I enjoyed this episode because I think I do like the clashing of the personalities this season better than last season. And it just, yeah. But for now, I don't know who's going to win. You know. Yeah,
I have no idea. It still feels early. Like Brittany won the last challenge and she was safe this challenge. Although I thought the coat she made was really fantastic.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
And then you have Marquise, who was safe last week, and then in the top this week, number one this week. So we haven't had anyone really start to develop like a consistent track record of being at the top. And Jeffrey, who was at the top, fell to the bottom because he just can't get out of his own head. Which is a shame because he was so good last week. And this week, I actually liked the caftan, like the hooded caftan. I thought the straps across the front were a little bit much, and he was probably overthinking that. But I thought it was a good idea, that part. And the pants were just kind of black.
Well, except for the baggy bloomers, nothing made me want to, get upset that much. So, except when Sergio obviously didn't care what they told him to do. And he didn't get punished for it, but he will. Mark my word.
Honestly, there were 14 designers this episode, and so his craftsmanship is genuinely good enough for that. The judges, I'm sure, were like, "That's not what we were looking for," but it's still really
nice in it. And and it was great for the walkway, but it didn't conform to what you were supposed to do.
Not at all. No.
So I noticed, I don't know if I missed this preview or maybe the episode I had didn't have the preview that it's going to be the unconventional challenge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unconventional challenge.
Are they going out in the woods again?
Not out of the woods. I did see the preview from the next episode, and they're going to like a Christmas store or something like that. So it'll probably be like tinsel
no. Where's Hester when you need her?
Hester would have a field day with this unconventional material. This is one of my favorite challenges of the season, just unconventional material. I'm really excited because even the looks that don't work are fun to look at just because like a hot mess is much more fun when it's made out of crushed ornaments or tinsel or mistletoe or whatever.
They went to a dollar store one time. That was fun. Old school Project Runway. Yeah, I try to stay out of those because there's a reason everything's $1.
Oh yeah, never go to a dollar store for anything that matters. Always for like, if you need something just really kind of basic, then you're good to go.
Yeah.
Well, that was Cats of the Urban Jungle. I want to thank you, Susan, for joining me, and thanks to everyone for watching. We will be back here next week to talk about the Unconventional Materials Challenge next week. So until then, see you then.